Welcome, everyone, to the Success Elevated podcast. As always, I'm your host, Hayden Lee, and I am joined this week by a couple very special guests. And first, before I even introduce who they are, I want to kind of go back a little bit. A few weeks ago, we had the really awesome opportunity of having Dan Cassera, who's the CEO of the Core Group, onto the show. It was a great episode. We got to talk about all things franchising and coming together as a group and learning from others and building a community. It was a really, really awesome episode. So go back and listen to that. It was a great conversation with Dan. But in that episode, we talked a little bit about this cool event that the Core Group is putting on called The Collective. And Dan was really great and kind of hit on it a little bit during that episode. But he mentioned, he was like, you should have Diane and Beth come back onto the show to talk about what the Collective is. So today we have two really special guests, Diane Goheen, who is the VP of Marketing for the Core Group, as well as Beth Thompson, who is the VP of Events for the Core Group. So Diane, Beth, thank you both for coming on the show. This is going to be an awesome podcast to talk all things collective. And anyways, just really excited to have you both on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. We're super excited to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be great. Beth is coming from Diane. You're based. You're in Texas.
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. That's where the core's kind of headquartered at. And yes. Beth is out coming from Mississippi, right? Correct.
Right, Oxford, Mississippi.
So yeah. we are an international. I mean, I don't know about international. We are coast to coast on this podcast. Okay, so we are all over, and I love it. And this is just the cool thing about, I don't know, the digital world that we live in today, right, that we can connect people from all walks of life and from all over the place to talk about cool stuff. So first and foremost, Diane, what is, Dan kind of hit at it in the episode that we had him on, but what is the Collective? What is this awesome event that the Core Group is getting ready to put on here in a couple of months?
Sure. So the Collective is Core's annual event. So it's our annual conference and trade show. It speaks to both the restoration and the restoration and the insurance industries. So it's a time to get everyone to connect, collaborate. We have basically, what we do is have four main elements. We do a planning strategy, delivery execution, a collaboration, and even a health and wellness piece to that. And what we do is we bring in all of our members as well as anyone in the industry. So want to make that clear up front that everyone in the industry in the restoration ecosystem is invited to attend, but just open the industries where we have a conference, where we have the typical track sessions, things like that. We have our general sessions. We have our trade show where you can meet all of our vendors with our Core Perks program, our sponsors that are also on that buying program. So it really is a time to just get everyone collectively together to just collaborate and learn and get these trainings. We offer, a lot of various trainings throughout the industry as well. So like I said, it's just kind of the gamut of the industry at large that we bring everyone together.
I love it. It sounds like this really, Dan was really big on this, and I've talked about this in multiple episodes, not just with Dan, but the restoration industry, more so than anything I've ever been a part of, I guess, just feels like a community. And it's this cool. And I think the Core Group and what you guys are doing with the Collective takes it to an even further spot that, like, we're all in this together. We're all trying to impact our own little corner of the world, wherever it might be. But let's come together and let's learn from each other of how we can do that. Right. And, I think, two heads are better than one is the common thing, right? And multiple heads is probably better than two, right? It just keeps elevating from there. And so the Collective, as well as some of these other, large like trade shows and events that restorers can go to, are a great way to just build off of that more so than anything else. And I love it. I just, the whole idea of a community is just really, really cool in like a business professional type setting. And I go back to the, so many other industries, it's like people are competing against each other, I guess. And it, like, nobody cares about the other guy. They only care about themselves, which, at the end of the day, you want to make more money for you and your family, and that's great. But I love that there's another aspect to the restoration industry that's like, hey, if I'm succeeding and if my friend down the road is succeeding, that's great. Like, it doesn't need to just be a me conversation. We can all succeed together, which is which is really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think you touched on that really well, without even knowing it. That is something that we tout here at CORE with our membership. We do have a membership network where you can become a member and a part of CORE. And we do have some special sessions for members only during the collective that we do as well. But that is what we really try to kind of, tout within our community, is going, look, guys, you are a community, not competition. Stop looking at each other as competitors, and really look at each other as a community, as a resource, as a networking opportunity, and not just the fun stuff. Like, learn from each other. We hold a sales and marketing call every month, that we have basically all the sales and marketing people, business development people from each company on that call every month. And they just kind of get to learn from each other, like what's working for you, what's a strategy, and not just the sales and marketing call, but we also do a sales and marketing summit, as well as an operations summit and an owner's day, which is similar in form. That even at the summit, we bring them into, and you say, hey, bring a strategy to share with the group. So most companies would go, why would I share my secrets with the person that's down the road from me? We literally have 2 members in California that are a block away from each other. And so they bring a strategy, they present to the group, they show their wins, their losses, what was their greatest challenges, what was their biggest wins that were unexpected, and just tell you how to actually follow that strategy. And so everyone does it in the room. So there's no just one isolated thing. And then basically what they do is they come together in that. And at the end of that, we had one member at the very beginning, when he was becoming a member, saying, I don't need any more networking. I don't need any more friends. I don't need any more, And after he left that session, that sales and marketing summit, he was like, that just blew my mind. Like, I had no idea this many people would be willing to share that information and help support us if we're trying to implement that same strategy. So it really, really is, a really great thing of just look at them as community, quit looking at competition, just help each other out and support each other and help raise each other up.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
The other side to that, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for just to start a conversation, and I'm gonna kick it to Beth here. But I like a large event like this is so, like, it's a huge hassle for both you guys at the core group, but it's also a hassle for like franchisees and restorers to want to, okay, I've got to buy plane tickets, or I've got to, I got to get my team all set up and taken care of and drive down to Austin, whatever it is. It can be kind of a hassle to do something like this. And so Beth, kind of kicking it to you, this is kind of your main focus, right? VP of events, but why should, I guess the question's kind of twofold. Why would the core group go through the hassle to put something on like this? We've kind of, I guess, hit on it a little bit, Diane and I, but why would the core group go through the hassle of doing this? And then why would like a restorer go through the hassle of traveling and attending something like the collective? Why do something like this?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm happy to answer that question.
Yeah.
So core, I would say, to speak to the community, the conversation we were talking about, where you spoke, where we've talked about the power of community.
Yeah.
And you can't have and build that without being in person with people. And that's something that in our industry, we've built that through all the relationships I have in this industry, which is very widespread. It's maintained through these touch points throughout the year, where we come together and we go to dinner and we have a drink and we catch up, and it builds this long-standing relationship, which is really key and pivotal in business. When you have those relationships, it makes such a difference for you. And so I think for us, one of the main things I would say to this is Dan has always had a passion for events in general. He's a mastermind when it comes to vision and seeing things that some of us may not see. And to me, it's a very exciting opportunity to work with someone like him who helps bring that to life. So from my perspective, we're going to have events in the world. We're going to have events in this industry. And generally, you need people that are passionate about doing that to create the best. And I think for us, we are very passionate about creating an experience that people walk away from and go, I don't care if I go to anything else, I'm always going to show up to the collective, because these people take it to the next level. They put so much thought in it. They care about us as people, as business people. It's so true that how you play together matters. And that's to speak to what Diane said. And the reason I love being a part of CORE. At my core, I'm an empathetic type person.
Yeah.
I think it's super important to recognize that every player has value, and that how we play together can elevate all of us. Not to mention, we're in an industry where we're dealing with people that are going through bad days. Nobody's going to be happy that's just experienced a loss. They're just not. So we're in a heavy industry. I think that may be part, I don't know, I just had that thought, that may be part of why there's such a strong community, is we really are going through things with people that are difficult. It's not delivering, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's a more emotionally intensive job. So I think for us to circle back.
Yeah, you're good.
And answer the question. It's that we're passionate about creating that experience to bring everybody together. And I'm grateful that Dan recognizes and has seen the value of a really strong show and opportunity to create that for people to come together, and allows me to be a part of building that. I would say, why should a contractor invest to come? I think that it is an investment. I will say that right out of the gate. Coming to an event like this is an investment. Events are not cheap from our perspective. This is not a money-making situation. This is we want to create an event for people where they get a lot out of it, and we just create a great experience to set the stage for people who do business together, to build these relationships. And I think, why should a contractor come? Number one, they're going to have a great time. But while they're having a great time, they're going to get enormous value from rubbing shoulders with colleagues, people that are in the same situation they're in, carrier relationships that can enhance their business, vendors that they can, purchase their products from. They can continue to build those relationships. And I just think there's certain levels in a relationship that you cannot reach until you spend kind of a human connection time in front of people, like face to face. We can talk all day over Zoom, but until I meet you in person, it's just kind of a different, it's a different layer. So I think that presents a lot of opportunity and has a lot more value in it than is probably recognized, just being in person with others.
I love it. Well, and you hit at something that I think is universal outside of just the collective as well, which we've kind of talked about, for the last few minutes, that, there's a community and there's all these things you can build there. But even just on a strict business side, you're going to build relationships with, carriers, equipment manufacturers, right? There's other relationships that you can build outside of just, meeting with your friends that own a restoration company down the road from you or whatever, or meeting with the core group to maybe get some training or something. You're going to build a relationship that might pay dividends for you down the road by just attending these events. Yeah.
And we try to bring the full ecosystem there. So when you look at it that way, some people, we go over here to this contractor event and over here to this carrier event and over here to see. And what we try to do is bring the whole ecosystem into one place and really give a good experience to each player in the ecosystem. So that's another reason to come. You're going to see, the full ecosystem in one stop instead of three. So there you go.
You don't have to attend a bunch of different events. You can hit it at one, right?
That's right.
There you go.
I love it. Well, and again, going to kind of the first point that you made, Beth, is that you have to look at it as an investment, right? If you just look at it as a fun vacation that you're going to go down to Austin and go hang out and eat some good food, okay, that's fine. But if you look at it as an investment, like buying a new van or purchasing a new office or something, if you look at it in that way, I think you're going to get a better return out of it, right? It's okay, this is an investment. I'm going to spend the thousands of dollars it's going to take for me to travel or bring my team with me, or whatever it is. But it's an investment that hey, this is going to help me in the future. This is going to help me grow the business. So it's going to sting now, but if I do it, it's going to help me grow in the future.
That's right. And one more thing I would say to that is
Yeah.
what we've seen previously is when a business owner invests in bringing employees with them, it's such a morale boost for their employees that they see them as a key player, that they would invest this in them to bring them along. And then it's like putting deposits into your employees that you reap the benefits because they feel that sense of value, and then they operate out of that sense of value. So it's to me, it's a huge win when you can bring a good many members of your team, because it's something you can experience together, and it goes a long way. It goes a long way.
Well, and so this was 2 weeks ago. We did a podcast. I did a podcast with a local guy that's one of our clients. He owns a lawn care company, and he talked about some of the lessons that he learned. He grew up on a farm. And one of the coolest things about his episodes, he talked about, he learned how to work without seeing the dividends immediately. Right. So he learned that, like, especially in like a farming type situation where like, we're going to grow this crop and we're going to invest all this money in it, and we're not going to get a check from it until the fall, right? Or he talked about like a 4-H sale, like he was going to raise this pig or this cow or whatever it was, and was not going to see any kind of dividend or return until the fall that he sold the pig or the cow, right? Like, so like, I think that's a cool way to think about it with attending an event like this and bringing your team to it, is that like, hey, you're not going to necessarily get your money back tomorrow for this.
You're not going to see an immediate ROI.
Yeah.
But man, that lesson is like the lesson that we all need. I need it in my generation, but even the younger generation we're in such an instant society.
Yep. Instant gratification. Yep.
Something doesn't work immediately, we move on to the next thing, when really the slow build has so much value. I like that. Yeah.
It was the great lesson that he brought and shared. And, we were talking about lawn care and fertilization and stuff, but like the big thing that I really took out of his episode was the lessons he learned growing up on a farm. It was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the other, I want to kind of dive into some of these other pieces, because the collective it's a community, it's an investment for your team. It's all of these things, but there's so many more opportunities at this event that I think people are missing out on, or maybe not missing out on, but that they might not get at other events. We talked about the community. We talked about bringing the other carriers and equipment manufacturers and all these pieces of the industry together. One of the cool things that Dan mentioned in his episode was he talked about this thing. He talked about some of the training things that you guys rolling out with Core University. And I would love, I don't know how that fits into the collective, and maybe it doesn't, but I would love to hear a little bit about how is Core University, how is that rollout going for you and the Core group? Is that going to be featured at all with the collective, or how does that go together?
Absolutely. Yes. So we will be, so we are launching that this year at the collective specifically. So we'll have some great, pieces to look at online. We'll have everything set. So it's kind of like our, what is that? The cream of the crop, or the cherry on top, I guess.
Yeah.
But we've got some great people that we've been working with throughout the industry that is helping with that as well, as just far as providing curriculum and things like that. So the really neat thing about that is it's going to help with trainings and certifications. We have some custom trainings that's Core certified, that some companies will start going, you have to have this Core certification, annually, or however often we're going to, require that. You get, like I said, the certifications, you get, what was the last one I was talking about? I know but there was this last piece that I kept going. This is the part you'll have to edit.
You're good.
But
my favorite part.
Competency. So
I love so that makes the best. Anyway,
it does. But yeah, so competency is going to be a big part of that. So what that means is, say you have, someone out of high school that decides college is not for them. That's not what they want to do. They want to jump into work for whatever reason, but they just don't know enough about the industry to jump into that. So what Core University will help them in competency to raise them at a higher level at a much quicker pace. So when they bring those new people on, whether they're brand new into the industry or they've already brought them on and they just want them to get, up to speed really quick, that's another great opportunity that we're going to be offering through Core University. It's just the competency level. And I think that's just huge, especially in this industry, to just get people up to speed because things are changing all the time, and I think that's something that's really, really important.
I love it because just to kind of speak to the industry a little bit. And again, I have not owned a restoration company, but I talk to a lot of restoration owners. So many of their employees are exactly what you just described, right? Mm-hmm. They've decided, hey, like I want to get into a trade or I want to get into the home service industry. College isn't for me, which isn't for a lot of people, right? And there's nothing
Absolutely
wrong with that. And so like, how can I want to get a job. So I talked to my buddy down the road. He owns a restoration company. Awesome. I'm going to start working for him. Mm-hmm. But how can they maybe elevate themselves a little bit to get a little bit more knowledge? And I love that there's this opportunity that, hey, we're going to get you certified in these different things. You're going to learn maybe some, I talked with Dan a little bit again in his episode, learn some of these soft skills, right? Like maybe like how to communicate with someone, how to look somebody in the eye and shake their hand, right? Like something as simple as that is a great way to elevate your team in maybe some way that's not like learning how to, tear down drywall that's been soaked with water, right? Or so, whatever it is.
Right.
Like it's something that's a little bit, it maybe not a technical skill, but learning some of these soft skills that will help your employees just be better employees.
Absolutely.
Two little quick thoughts on that.
Yeah, go ahead, Beth.
One of the ideas behind this, in my conversations, one of our team members who's really been a huge part of this is Jason Gilstrap. And he is a veteran, and he's someone that has always said he's not really a school kind of guy. And when we were throwing out ideas about how to really get this going, it was like, how do you break through the fake work that is oftentimes just time consuming, but it doesn't help us just move to where we need to go. So some of this is a lot of it, or a good bit of it is how do we get people to where, like Diane said, where they need to be quickly and with a straight line. We don't have to do, some of the fake work that's involved in educational programs now. But really trying to kind of get to the point, I guess is a good way to say it. Yeah. The other thing I'll say is in all my, in the current state of like AI and talking about the future and all the, a lot of, that's hot topic right now, where are we headed? What I believe, which is strictly my own opinion, so this is strictly my own opinion, is that our jobs, this industry, boots on the ground positions are really where the future is, in the sense of AI is not taking those jobs. So there is going to be more opportunity for trades, for really becoming a professional within trades, experts, whatnot. And I think that to help elevate an individual who wants to become more of an expert, and we can do that in a way that really helps them, then we want to be there for that. We want to be the resource. And so like Diane said, we've got so many amazing players that are joining us for Core University, and I'm excited for people to see what that's become, because it's really exciting.
Yeah, no matter how good ChatGPT gets, it ain't going to go into somebody's basement and suck water out of their basement. Like it ain't going to happen, right?
It's not going to happen.
So those jobs are always going to be out there. And so this is a way for like, hey, like this is job security. Like you're going to get coached up on some of these things, and you're going to have a career. Like, yeah, you might not stay with the same company for forever, but you're going to have a career now, and you didn't have to, go spend thousands of dollars on student loans or, whatever it is, right? Like you can you can go this other route and get some real good.
That could be a whole nother episode.
That's true.
Diane and I both have college age children, and the thought of what it takes these days to get that education, and then the return of investment on what you've put into it and get back is there's no confidence that it's going to be there. In some ways it's tricky. Yeah, so sorry, you can X that out too.
No, you're fine. That's 100% could be a whole other podcast. anything else, I want to, I'm kind of saving what I'm going to call the juicy parts for the end, where we can talk about the fun part of the collective, right? Fun, the whole thing's going to be fun, but I know you guys all want to make sure we talk about like the food and the environment and the atmosphere that's going to be there. Like, I think that's really cool to mention as well. But is there anything else, Diane, Beth, that we want to make sure we kind of hit at? Like, I know there's probably some other training opportunities that we probably ought to mention, but is there anything else that you want to make sure people are aware of with regards to the collective, or maybe just the general ethos of attending an event in general?
Sure. So I know, kind of speaking back on the point of investing, in your people. I think that's something like, of course, this is fun. And we've, talked on several podcasts, and that's what everyone wants to know about. What's the theme this year? What's going to happen this year? And it's, of course, that's fun. Everyone wants to know what the fun part is. But, like they said, you're coming for work, and you're coming for a little fun too. But, you're still coming for work. You're still coming on the company dime. So you really have to make sure, to your point, that ROI is eventually going to be seen at some point. And I feel like, it could probably be seen almost instantly in some certain instances. So for instance, we offer, just by attending the event itself, you get 14 IICRC CE credits automatically. So just by attending, you're getting the credits. So, which is amazing. Obviously the valuable track sessions, we have all different, and Beth can touch base on a little bit of, what we're all talking about through the training sessions, through the track sessions. Like I mentioned earlier, they all have different elements to them, whether it's planning strategy, delivery execution, collaboration, and some health and wellness, which again, I think we all need that, in this industry, especially, just the burnout rate, but that we have is, I don't know the exact number, but, you hear it all the time that people are just burnt out. So, this is a time where while you're in this, really fun experience and environment, you're also gaining, training. So we have estimating training by both Exactware and CoreLogic there. Obviously, we're doing the rollout of Core University, so you'll get to learn more about that there. We're doing our white glove service training, so which is required by all of our, anyone that we send out to any job. You have to go through this training in order to go to these jobs, because we deal with high net worth and commercial only. So we're dealing with a different caliber of people. And so you really have to know, like, pull out, roll out the red carpet, literally, almost not literally, but you know what I get at. So the white glove service training, where it's, you really want to give them the best service, the best delivery, make sure you're not going into a house, with PPE on. If they're like, don't come in here, the neighbors can see you, and some people are just that way. So, running through the house rules checklist, just kind of learning about how to, give that service, give that delivery that people are on that caliber are expecting. And then, just like we said, networking with the industry's largest and best, all of our, we like to tout we're North America's fastest growing contractor network, which is true. We only get the best of the best. We do, major vetting, rigorous vetting on them, background screenings. We have a compliance. We're working with Profile Gorilla that keeps them compliant with all their certifications, all their licensing, anything that they need on that. Their IICRC, things like that. So, that's a big part of it as well. So it's just really making sure that, again, you're investing that into your people. So instead of trying to do all these one-offs here and there and paying for classes to do this and that, you get to come to the conference and you can get all of that in one place. So you pay one price, come to the conference, get all of that. You can actually customize. We have an app that we use when you get there, and you can customize your agenda. So once you get there, you go, this is the class I need to take. I know what I need to do, and you customize it yourself to you. So you know what you need versus what someone else's need. And we just kind of go, okay, let's just lump them all together. So I think that's something that's also very valuable, that we bring. And not to mention, we're one of the conferences as well that also we put our carriers that are out there. We don't shy them away or, hide them away. They want to be out in the crowds. The contractors definitely want to start, rubbing elbows, talking to them, talking about expectations, and vice versa. So they actually attend the classes. We've seen our carriers and we've gotten feedback from the classes that they've attended, the sessions that they've attended. So they could be sitting right next to you, you know, during a session, because they want to learn what you're learning too. So they're aware of, okay, this is what they're being taught by core. So we know that core is not just telling us, you know, this information, but they're living it, they're breathing it, you know, every day. And they're showing anyone in the industry, whether they are a member or not, could be another franchise, you know, that decides to attend. And we do have other franchises that attend. And so I think that's a really big part of that is, again, just collectively elevating this industry as a whole is really important to us. And so that's why we make sure that you're also getting the best training while you're there at the conference. So
it's awesome. Beth, any additional things you want to make sure we add? I mean, there's so much there,
Yeah,
but
there
you can
is
maybe
so much. I would
you could probably speak to the fun, juicy stuff that I was talking about as well, right? Like we get all this cool training, we get all the ROI, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Do I also get some barbecue? Do I get some Austin, Texas barbecue? Like, please.
We'll keep that for the end because I have a few things I want to add.
I'm fingers crossed I get some barbecue. Okay, that's all I'm asking for.
We'll see what we can do. So, to kind of bring together everything that was the power of community, and then some of the things Diane was just referencing about really having the carriers, like, you know, we're rubbing elbows, we have meet and greets. Two of the panels that we have that are big hits every year is the high net worth panel, which will have carrier from Pure, Berkeley One, Vault. Chris Kramer will facilitate that, moderate it. And then we have the Battling Bias, which Diane really organizes and does a beautiful job of bringing, you know, education and awareness to people about things that people are facing. And I think that that's the beauty of what the collective is. To me, my definition is that when you can see things from the other perspective, it gives you such a better working relationship. So when a carrier can go, oh, wait, I didn't realize the contractor actually had to do this and this and this, I can totally see how they would be extremely frustrated to not be able to help the homeowner, and the homeowner's mad at them, and it's really because we've, you know, or vice versa. Oh, for the contractor to go, well, I kind of get why they have to do this. So when you can sit down and open your mind and really listen and learn, because each player has to play, you know, each person has to do their job. So when we can see those perspectives, and that's our goal, to present the perspectives that give people more understanding and better working relationships so we can all be successful. So I think that would be the only thing I'd say. I wanted to point out the high net worth panel because that's just a really valuable part of our conference. And then the Battling Bias as well, that just helps continue to elevate and teach and educate, which makes us all better people and hopefully the world a better place. So
I love it. It's so great. So great. Well, I don't want to harass you both for too much longer because I really do. There's so many things we could talk about here, and there's so many extra pieces to all of this here at the collective. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a really, really cool opportunity. It's another event that I think really provides a lot of value to people in the industry. And guess what? You don't have to be a core member to attend, right? Like you don't have to be a part of the core group to go. So if you're a restoration company that wants to rub shoulders with the carriers, wants some good training, wants to learn how they can take their business to the next level, bring your team, come to Austin end of August, and you're going to learn a lot of really, really cool things.
And if they've made it this far in the podcast and are still enjoying it, I have a surprise. They can type in the code SOS and receive $200 off their registration.
Oh,
so
man.
Anybody who has hung in here with us can use that code and receive a little discount.
Yes. That $200 off can buy you a lot of barbecue. I've said it multiple times. I'm just saying, that could get you some good food at some point during your trip. So that's awesome. Well, thank you. That's our listeners are going to love this. Thank you for letting us do this.
Yeah.
And I would guess. Go ahead. One
more quick tidbit of information too. So we're also this year going to be doing something like, because we have a festival theme. If you bring 6 people or more, and this is again open to the industry, so it's not just members specifically, it's anyone that decides to attend, whether it's, you know, contractors, vendors, carriers, whoever. If you bring 6 people or more, you automatically get entered into a drawing for 2 tickets to the ACL Music Fest here in October. So
that's
they have
awesome.
2 weekends, and we've got weekend 1 that we are going to be giving away for that as well. So that's great. Super exciting. Yes.
Again,
and we,
just some more benefits. Hey,
that's right.
This trip is paying for itself at this point. I mean, come on.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like I told someone else the other day, I said, even if you're not planning on coming back to go to the music festival, those things sell out every year, so you can sell them and just take the money. So
listen, Katie and Derek, who own Spot On Solutions, will most likely be attending. I might just make up a restoration company, a fake restoration company, and just show up anyways.
Let's go.
I'm just gonna show up. Katie and Derek would be like, "Why the heck are you here? You're supposed to be back home in Idaho working." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm attending the collective. Okay, get off my back." All right.
You know what? If you make that happen. I was gonna say, if you make that happen, I will personally take you to buy barbecue out of my own pocket, not even on the company dime. I will buy you barbecue myself.
All right, deal. I'm in. That's awesome. Well, this is gonna be. It sounds like an amazing event. I love the theme, the festival theme, all of that. It's gonna be a ton of fun. You gave us the code, Beth. Where can they go to register and sign up for this? Because it's not your guys' regular. It's a separate website, right? Where they can go sign up for it.
It is. I mean, you can get to it from our regular website as well. There is a tab there. So our regular website is www.gowithcore.com. But sorry, Beth, didn't mean to hijack that.
No, I was going to let you do the websites because I always get them mixed up. So you go for it.
This happened last time, so we're like, but the actual for a collective to go register is www.thecollectivebycore.com, and you can even go the next route and go /register, or if you just go to thecollectivebycore.com, you can find the registration tab on the bars.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you both. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you both, as kind of our closing thoughts here on the episode, ask you both our rapid fire questions. So anytime we have somebody new come on the podcast, I've got to bug them a little bit about their these 3 questions. Okay. So we're going to bounce back and forth between both of you. First question: favorite book or podcast that you're reading or listening to right now? Diane, I'm going to start with you.
Sure. So right now I'm not reading or listening to I am listening to a couple of different podcasts actually. But they're industry podcasts, so I don't know if that counts.
That's okay. Well, and it doesn't have to be, I should preface it doesn't have to be right now, but maybe something you've read or listened to recently.
So the book I read earlier this year, and I actually recommended it to Beth, and she read it as well. It's actually called 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. And from the title, obviously it sounds a little mushy cheese, but it's really actually kind of more of an introspective view of how you show people love, and not necessarily just in a intimate relationship, but work relationships, friendships, and intimate relationships as well. But just in general, how you show love to the world, and how you are shown love, which kind of teaches you how you are showing up for yourself and for people. So it's something that was just really, really close to my heart that I really loved seeing, because I love a lot of people. So
oh, that's great. Well, listen, I think again, not to get too mushy, but I am a big believer that if there was a little bit more love in the world, if we showed a little bit more love to the people around us, I think it'd be a better place. So that's I love that. That's a great recommendation. So Beth, what about you? Book, podcast, anything you read or listened to recently?
We're giving Jay Shetty some props today, because my book that I was going to say is Think Like a Monk. It is
cool.
One of the best books I've ever read on, it's just very introspective, but it's also how you the world and each role. Something I really have always harped on, like with my children and parenting, is, the quote, the janitor's as valuable as the CEO, but it's important that you live that every day. Somebody has to clean the bathroom, value that role. We need people that are working at fast food restaurants, treat them well, value that role. And this book really, it's just a fascinating book, but it really reinforced that. But because she said Jay Shetty and I said Jay Shetty, I'm also going to throw out my favorite fun read this year was Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. It's great.
I've heard awesome things about it. I have a 100 book friggin' list I got to get through at some point, but it is on my list. I hear it's amazing.
It was very inspiring to me to like live life. Don't sit around and like just worry about all the things. Like, go live your life. You get one, make mistakes, do whatever, just live it. You know, that was kind of the theme that I got from it. So yeah, I would highly encourage that read.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Second question. I know you both are obviously vice presidents of a large company, and I'm sure are very busy. So how do you relax at the end of a long day? How do you recharge the mental, emotional batteries, whatever it is? How do you relax at the end of a long day? Diane, kick it to you.
Sure. So I recently got back into yoga, and it's, I was into it a couple of years back and was really into it. And I got kind of a little off track because you get so busy and you find other excuses not to do what you need to do and take care of yourself. And so I've recently, this year, got back into it, and it's just it really fills me so much. And it's a true, I mean, I know this sounds very cliche, but for me, it is a true mind, body, soul connection for me. So I think that's something that, every time I'm done after I've gotten my last, Shavasana rest pose, everything feels so great. I feel lighter, I feel more clarity. I feel just, a lot better about what I'm doing. And like when negativity either comes to me or negative thoughts, either way, it's very helpful to help kind of just block that out a lot. So yeah.
Love it. Love it. That's a great recommendation, Diane. Thank you. Beth?
Thanks.
So I would say, I'm a big Orange Theory girl. I don't know if you're familiar with Orange Theory, but I have to do something physical, sweat, it's my stress relief. So I prefer that, but can't do it as often as I want. So I would say I take walks, listen to podcasts. Those are things that kind of help me relax. So yeah, that's mine.
Love it. I keep going back to it because it was one of our first episodes, but we had a guest on that talked about having white space in your life and having shutting your brain off and doing something that either requires like all of your focus, like yoga or something like that, or just going for a walk and just it's, for lack of a better term, like almost zoning out and just letting your body just relax and your brain relax and having quote unquote white space. I think that's
just disconnecting.
Just disconnect. And it's a great way to recharge. Okay. Last question for both of you. And then I will stop asking questions. I feel like I've grilled both of you today.
Keep asking. It's fun.
It's been good. If you could rewind to the beginning of your career. So whether it's the beginning of your career with CORE or, other professional jobs that you've done, if you could rewind to the beginning of your career and tell younger Diane, Beth, one thing, what would that one thing be? Diane, what would it be?
Yeah, I love this question. So mine would definitely be to give yourself grace and not take things personally in a work environment. Make sure that you are very aware of yourself and stand strong in those beliefs. Don't let anyone, kind of push you around, and just don't take things personally ever.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Beth, what about you?
So I would actually go back to little Beth, not just being a career, but like little, and I would say, don't strive for perfection. Just look at it as progress. Just progress. Just enjoy each season of life. It's not a failure of a day if you have failures throughout the day, because that's all a part of the human learning experience. I didn't understand that at a young age, that failure is not a bad thing. Failure is a part of the journey. And I wish I would have been bolder in being more open to failure. I think that when you chase perfection, it really can set you back. So accepting failure and just life is learning in progress, and that's just what it is. And so that's what I would tell my little bitty self.
Oh, that's great. That's so great. Well, great recommendations, great advice. And thank you both for coming on the Success Elevated podcast. This has been amazing. Super excited for both of you and the collective. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for people to learn and come together and build a community. And I think it's going to be really fun. And I can't wait to hear how it went and to hear from you guys.
You have to get there and get some barbecue. We have
come get some barbecue. Hey,
I'm gonna send this to Katie and Derek's inbox so that they have to, like, I've got to be there. So
on it so we can support
very
that.
important that you come and experience this conference. I totally agree.
Well, I will tell them I have to. Listen,
Exactly.
I have to now. I'm sorry. Like,
it's not an option.
My
you
two
do a
new
podcast
friends
from there.
Yes. My two new friends,
See?
Beth and Diane, said I gotta go, and we're gonna podcast there, so it counts as work, and we're good.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Taste test barbecue on the podcast.
That's what we should do. We should just do a whole podcast. We just taste test. That would be amazing. That'd be amazing.
It's like kind of like could do like the hot ones that do it with barbecue.
Yes. I love hot ones.
Could
That's
you
great.
imagine?
Oh man. Well, again, thank you both for coming on. We're going to have you on in the future. We talked before we started recording. We talked about a future episode that we might do. We won't talk about the topic yet because I want to surprise people, but we are going to have you both back on in the future. Thanks again for coming on, and we'll talk to you later. So
thank you so much, Hayden. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we had such a good time. Thank you so much.
This has been Success Elevated, making you a little bit better one show at a time. Thanks for joining us. Please subscribe on YouTube or any other major podcast platform to listen to more episodes. We are proudly brought to you by Spot On Solutions. If you'd like to learn more about how we can help you grow your business, please check us out at spotonsolutions.com.